Bali, opo, okay po. So tayo po ay pagpapatuloy. We will now discuss, we will continue discussing about the interdisciplinary research methodology. Okay, so here in our, no, we have 8 participants. I think all of you uh, are tuned in this particular study. Do you hear my voice?
Yes,
Hello?
Doc. Opo,
Okay, so
it's clear.
I think it is no. Now I would like first to share ito po. Have you seen that? Po.
Yes, Doc.
So basic facts about interdisciplinary research methodology. And of course, just like what I say last meeting, interdisciplinary research is the practice of integrating knowledge and methods from multiple disciplines to address complex problems in scientific research. It involves collaboration between experts from different fields to bring together diverse perspectives and approaches in order to find innovative solutions. And when we say interdisciplinarity, this term refers to a method or mindset that merges traditional educational concepts or methods in order to arrive at a new approaches or solutions. And our example, last meeting, about it is an actual example po, actual example ng interdisciplinary research ay Bible-based GMRC values education subject for matatag education curriculum based on metaphorical lens of educators. And if we are going to provide a statement of the problem of this particular topic, the statement includes first preliminary introduction, second, the statement of the main problem, and the statement of a specific problem. So example of the preliminary statement is this of that particular topic. So of course, the statement here is the implementation of the Matatag education curriculum emphasizes foundational skills, well-being, and values formation as essential components of holistic education. While GMRC and values education are institutionalized within the curriculum, there remains a pressing challenge in ensuring that values instruction is deeply rooted in enduring moral foundations and delivered through meaningful pedagogical strategies. The Bible, as a rich source of timeless ethical principles, offers a framework for nurturing virtues among learners. However, its integration into formal education requires careful curricular alignment and interpretive tools that allow teachers to translate abstract moral lessons into concrete classroom realities. So, in making a statement of the problem, you must have first the preliminary statement. And then after that, ito na po, this is now the main problem. The main problem is this study seeks to address the problem of how a Bible-based GMRC values education subject can be conceptualized and developed within the Matatag curriculum through the metaphorical lens of educators. Specifically, it aims to answer the following research questions. Yan. So, this is now the main problem. The main problem is ano po, what is the main problem here? The main problem is to seek to address the problem of how a Bible-based JMRC values education subject can be conceptualized and developed within the Matatag curriculum through the metaphorical lens of educators. And then after that, we will now attach the specific problems. So we have the statement specifically, it aims to answer the following research questions. Now, this is now the specific problems, the statement of the specific problems. I think the specific problems must at least be two or five specific problems. For example, the number one, what biblical values can be identified as foundational to GMRC and values education in the Matatag curriculum? That is the number one, the specific problem. Number two is how do educators interpret and articulate values education through metaphors in their teaching practice? And number three, what are the perceptions of teachers and school leaders regarding the possibility, acceptability, and relevance of a Bible-based GMRC subject within the Matatag curriculum? And number four is how can biblical values, curriculum standards, and metaphorically interpretation be integrated into a framework for developing a Bible-based GMRC values education subject? And the last, this is now what we call the output. What proposed model or framework for Bible-based GMRC education can be formulated to align with the Matatag curriculum? This is now what we call the output of the research. 1 to 4 are just a matter of answering, specifically answering the main problem, and the fifth one is the output of the problem. Now, I would like to give another example before we continue on our first example. I would like to provide you another example, actual examples of interdisciplinary research. Please judge whether the following research is interdisciplinary or monodisciplinary research. The first one is how to clean Pasig River, an observational study on the cleaning activity of some aquatic organisms. I would like to present this particular example. I would like to give you the actual example of this particular research. I will end first the and I will provide you the actual example. Yeah. I think, have you seen this particular, yung how to clean Pasig River? Have you seen that? Hello?
Yes, Doc. The one on the slide.
Oh, the slide? Yung how to clean Pasig River? An observational, have you seen that or not?
What we can see here, Doc, we have two examples. Yeah. But we also see the how to clean Pasig River.
So I will attach this to our this particular how can I post this particular Okay.
You have to exit your presentation, Doc.
Oo, tama.
Exit muna kayo tapos i-share na yung yung
May share.
document how to clean Pasig River.
So I will present this in link. So I will immediately share this particular. I think, yeah. Okay. So have you seen this particular topic?
Okay, Doc. Tama na.
Okay po. So the title is How to Clean Pasig River, an observational study on the cleaning activity of some aquatic organisms. So I think this involves ecology. Is that correct, no? Ecology, what else? What other disciplines on this particular title? I think it is health. Pwede. We can consider health. And ano po? Biology, because of the aquatic organisms. And then yung how to clean Pasig River. What can you say about that? What discipline? Hello. So let us study this first, ano? Yung this particular topic. Okay, so the title of this is how to clean Pasig River, an observational study on the cleaning activity of some organisms. And this is my presentation. I presented this in a conference, a research conference, international research conference. So I would like to present this to you, no? Pasig River is a river that connects Laguna de Bay via Napindan Channel into Manila Bay. This river, also called in Tagalog as Ilog Pasig, stretches 25 kilometers and divides Metro Manila into two. Its major tributaries are the Marikina and Juan rivers. This is introduction of the presentation of the research. Now let us go to the to another introductions. Due to negligence and relentless dumping of garbage and industrial development, Pasig River has become very polluted and is considered dead or unable to sustain life according to ecologists. To rehabilitate this river, Philippine government established the Pasig River Rehabilitation Commission to oversee rehabilitation efforts for the river. And despite all efforts to revive the river, it seems that it is hopeless to do so. However, this researcher believes that it is possible to restore Pasig River. It can be rejuvenated using aquatic organisms, which were given tasks and duties by God to clean and maintain the sanitation of the rivers, seas, and other bodies of water. This study, ito na po, this is now the statement of the problem. This study attempted to prove that there are aquatic organisms, both plants and animals, which are tasked to clean and maintain cleanliness and rivers, seas, and other natural bodies of water. The aquatic organisms are called janitors or scavengers or sanitizers. I think it is not the main problem. I think this is only the statement of I think this is already to prove this is the main problem po, that there are aquatic organisms. So the study attempted to prove. And then aside from that, the said organisms include janitor fish, catfish, eels, crabs, clams, lobsters, snails, shrimps, squids, crayfish, prawns, jellyfish, a special type of microorganisms, etc., which will serve as cleaners or janitors of the seas and rivers. They are not normally intended to be eaten, but for a purpose, being as absorbers of various fields. Their presence in bodies of water makes it clean. There are also aquatic plants that also maintain the cleanliness of various bodies of water. Without them, water would become dirty and polluted. So that is another statement, no? And unfortunately, numerous people use those mentioned aquatic organisms as foods. They think that our body needs them for growth and health. It is an already established fact that they are rich in iodine, protein, and essential minerals, but they are also rich in toxic substances and filth, such as fumoic acid, methyl mercury, amino acid-based poisonous substances, toxic enzymes, pathogenic microorganisms, and numerous virulent impurities. Aquatic plants, on the other hand, are removed and destroyed. Examples of aquatic plants present on Pasig River are water lilies, water hyacinths, submerged water plants such as pondweeds, grasses, mosses, etc. Because many people consume these organisms in large scale for dining, they are now scarce in rivers and seas, and aquatic plants are removed as they think that these plants are not needed in the bodies of water. Consequently, rivers and seas become dirty and polluted. This is now the statement of the problem. The general objective to determine the cleaning activity of some aquatic organisms, specific objectives to observe how some aquatic cleaners clean rivers, seas, and aquariums. And number two, to relate cleaning activity of some aquatic cleaners on the possible potentials of those organisms in cleaning Pasig River. So I have here the general objective. I think this is the main problem, and specific objectives, these specific problems. And this is now the importance of the study. This study may help Pasig River Rehabilitation Commission to augment its program to revive Pasig River through the use of aquatic cleaners. And number two, this may open the eyes of some people who are merciless in killing those animals to become concerned towards aquatic cleaners, scavengers, and some people think that aquatic plants have no use in various bodies of water. However, plants are main factors that maintain the ecological balance and well-being of them. This study has a potential to influence people's perception to avoid the eating of said aquatic organisms. This study may possibly implant scattered ideas of cleanliness and nature loving. And above all, this study may benefit a lot the humanity in general because it is concerned about health and protection of animal life. This is the research methodology as qualitative observational study. And I put also the study locale, seasource in one of the islands in Bicol, riverbanks in UP Sitio, Maunlad, Barangay Magsaysay, Real Quezon Province, and Marketplace in Metro Manila. And I've also put the research procedure. The first procedure, I think it is very simple. To observe the cleaning activity of some aquatic cleaners, scavengers at seasource, riverbanks, aquariums by putting stools and other dirt. Number 2, to interview some wet market vendors regarding some aquatic cleaners and owners of an aquarium with janitor fish. And this is now the summary of findings. When this researcher was in one of the islands in Bicol, one of his companions moved the bowels at the seashore. After a few minutes, the stools disappeared. He found out after a curious observation that a species of shellfish absorbed the stools. With another experiment, the researcher put stool in the top of a stone in a seashore and waited what would happen. He noticed after a few minutes, a queer species of aquatic cleaners with long hands took and absorbed the stools. He witnessed by his naked eye the step-by-step absorption of the stool. With such findings, he realized that those aquatic animals were created to clean and maintain hygienic conditions of rivers and seas. And the researcher also interviewed some vendors of crabs, shrimps, and other aquatic cleaners regarding foods they give to mentioned animals. It was found out that these vendors put urine, stools, and other dirt as food for their crabs, etc., to maintain or prolong the life of those mentioned creatures. And this researcher also interviewed some owners of aquarium. Most of them use janitor fish to maintain the cleanliness of their aquarium. It was noticed that janitor fish successfully thrives in Marikina River, a known polluted river. It was deduced that if this fish be given opportunity to live in Pasig River, this researcher is very positive that janitor fish will surely and successfully thrive in Pasig River and will help in cleaning said river. And this researcher also noticed that a Japanese discovered a special type of microorganism which has the ability to convert polluted water to potable water. This researcher also noticed that there are various aquatic plants that maintain the ecological balance of the river and other bodies of water. With the above findings, the researcher believes that in order to restore Pasig River or any other river in the country, it is very necessary to propagate all kinds of freshwater aquatic cleaners, both aquatic plants and animals, and dump them in strategic sites in Pasig River. And then I've now the conclusions. So aquatic organisms such as crabs, janitor fish, shrimps, and others are considered cleaners, scavengers, or sanitizers or seas of rivers and other natural bodies of water, which are tasked to clean and maintain their cleanliness and hygiene. There are also aquatic plants that are tasked to maintain the ecological balance of the river and other bodies of water. So in order to restore, rehabilitate, or revive Pasig River, it is necessary to preserve and propagate all kinds of aquatic cleaners, both aquatic plants and animals, and dump them to strategic sites of the said river. And recommendations, the researcher recommends the following: to preserve and propagate numerous species of aquatic cleaners, scavengers, including various aquatic plants, and dump them to strategic areas of Pasig River. And number two, to protect and love those mentioned creatures for ecological balance and for sanitation of bodies of water, such as rivers and seas. And number three is to formulate government policies on how to protect aquatic cleaners, scavengers, and to enact a law that will restrict the exorbitant eating of those aquatic creatures and to install strict measures for their preservation, propagation, and protection. And number four is to launch a program of saving aquatic cleaners and to exert all efforts to mass produce them. And number five is to conduct further study on this topic, especially on the specific roles of each aquatic cleaner regarding the possibility of survival of aquatic cleaners on Pasig River, despite of its very polluted condition. So I think this is now my topic, no? So based on this particular research, as a very simple research. So what can you say about this? I would like to ask questions to our participants, our doctorate students about this particular title. What can you say? What are the disciplines that may be considered in order that we can say that this particular study is an interdisciplinary research?
Doc, can I give
Okay,
a
Dr. Ronnie.
comment?
Apo, comment.
From my simple perspective, Doc, I see that the methodology there is really great. This is a great contribution to the Pasig River. I find it more on ecological. However, I find the recommendation which is more interdisciplinary. I was thinking of the political scavengers.
Okay, political
the,
scavengers.
the,
Apo,
the,
yes.
the strategy of implementing this into policies, if these political scavengers can probably be considered, and I'm not sure. I'm not saying that I'm adding to the research. I just find that this very great research based on the recent context of the Philippines can be best implemented if the scavengers, the political rivers will be cleaned out also, which will implement the cleaning of
Yes.
the Pasig River.
Okay, so in fact in Thailand, I think you are from Thailand, no? Normally in
Yes,
Thailand there
Doc.
are numerous rivers and these rivers are used for transportation. Is that correct?
Yes,
Doctor, no?
Doc. Yes, Doc. And it's in the situation in Thailand is worsening when it comes to rivers. The rivers now and the seashores are very dirty because the Thai people love to eat those scavengers, and they're very
Yes.
expensive here. I live close to the seashore here, about less than 1 kilometer, and I could see they have farming for these seafoods, and that is why we can see the waters here are really bad. My comment a while ago was a kind of a bit of a joke, but it's also like giving some perspective. If just making it from my poor understanding, a very good research can be implemented in a very good place like Pasig area with the policies. Otherwise, Doc, more contractors will be
Yeah.
benefiting from the wonderful research, and they will go, it will go nowhere if these people are not considered. I'm not sure. Just giving this thinking, Doc.
Okay, thank you for your insight. Now, how about Dr. Jerry C. Faustino?
Yes, Doc. Good morning. I think the interdisciplinary subjects mentioned here is number one is Araling Panlipunan. It's because
Yes.
of the Laguna de Bay, Pasig River. Then you made mention also about the different organisms. So it involves science,
Yes.
science, and there is also the bodies of water and ecosystem. So
Ecosystem.
in environmental science.
Yes.
Oo. Marami, Doc, eh.
Okay, so
Uh,
thank you for Dr.
Congratulations,
Jerry.
you're able to inject this one.
Mm. Now, how
Doc
about
Delphine.
Dr. Dory Bernardo?
Doc Delphine, it's not really costly because having put there that blood source and cause not costly than putting many instruments there, many like what do you call that to stop that machineries in order to dig deeper there in the Pasig River. So governments will lessen their expenditures. No, that's a very good idea to have that great great research studies of yours.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Dory Bernardo. How about Dr. Terry Helsingiga? Dr. Terry. So, who else can uh, who can say something about this research in regards to our subject, interdisciplinary research? Si Dr. ano po, Dr. Sharon?
Good morning, Doc. Actually, Doc, I have a question, but then for me, Doc, I would just like to share first. For me, I view it more on political and sociological when it comes to our, society. And second, about health and environmental awareness, which you mentioned about people consume scavengers, and a lot of people don't actually understand scavengers because as you also mentioned in your study that people still consume them because they're not really aware of the purpose of these scavengers. Now, environmental awareness because people also think that they are not useful for the environment. That's why it's only for consumption. But with this study, Doc, I could see exactly that people and environment and the same when it comes to politics or in the governance should also deal together. But Doc, there's only one thing that I just would like to ask when it comes to your research. Um, what departments that have you also talk and work with in collaboration of this beautiful research in Pasig River? Have you also, Doc, touched or asked about the health, department to identify these scavengers? Because for them, Doc, it's not easy to say scavengers. They don't like the word scavengers because for them it's food. It's a source of like protein, it's a source of living. So have you also asked them so that it could be like they could really help maintaining the aquatic scavengers in Pasig River?
In fact, I have not talked with them in regards with this. but I presented it in an international conference, especially in regards with ecology and environmental protection. And I believe that these scavengers, I think this term can also be found in some research, the word scavengers, because scavengers means janitor. They clean the rivers, and the duties and functions given by God to these organisms are to clean, to maintain the cleanliness of the bodies of water. But because of the mass consumption of these organisms, bodies of water become dirty because of inadequacy of these organisms. That's why, in fact, the details of this research, I proved one by one the functions of each organisms, the aquatic organisms, the functions, how they clean the bodies of water. For example, yung yung puset. Ano ba yung puset sa Tagalog? Sa English?
Squid, Doc?
Yung mga mussels, man.
Yeah, mussels and
They they maintain they reduce the bloodness of the river or the seas. And all of them have their functions, different functions of cleaning. That's why if you are going to use this aquatic organism, instead of eating them, but allow them to propagate. I believe that this will be a solution to make the bodies of water clean and hygienic. Okay, so let us thank you for the sharing, for the nice sharing of Dr. Dr. Dory Bernardo. How about Dr. ano po? Sino pa yung mga who are still present? Si Dr. Sherlyn Mariano. Dr. Sherlyn Mariano? Who else? How about Dr. Ray Letran? Is Dr. Ray Letran there? So this is an example an example of what we call the interdisciplinary, and you can start conducting a particular research which involves numerous disciplines and for the benefits of our society. So, do you have any questions in regards with this?
Doc, Delphine, do they believe
Yes.
in your research studies? Do they implement it? Now?
Because in the government they don't want, they consider them as foods. They consider them as foods. That's why they don't like to implement this study because of the Katakawan na ba yung ano? What is the term? Ano po?
That's it, Doc.
Oo.
Hindi tayo hirap.
They don't want to believe on they still their taste or their what will you say that?
Under beliefs, Doc. Stick under beliefs. That
Yes,
it's not,
on their
it's
beliefs.
really food and it's not scavengers. That's what it
Yes,
is,
yes.
Doc. So they don't want to implement it. So if they really, sana, if they implement it, so we will not have problems about having that Pasig River is that cleaning the
Yes.
Pasig River and all the rivers here all over the Philippines, Doc, no?
Yes.
Hopefully their eyes will be open.
Correct. That's true, Dr. Shirley Mariano. And of course, as Seventh-day Adventists, we do not consume this food as Seventh-day Adventists. And by this particular research, we can share to them the health principles of God in regards and the purpose of God, why He created these aquatic organisms. They have the purpose. Each animal has a purpose why God created that particular animal. Of course, now let us go to the second research. I think we have still time. Just tell me if I have still time. I will now show another research study. Is it okay for you to have another study?
You have 6
And
minutes.
this study is yeah.
Hello, Doc.
Yes, this. Have you seen
Is there
this
an
particular study now? Yeah. Yeah. I think this is another study, best practices in the Adventist educational system, its perspective and dimension, a benchmarking study. Tell whether it is interdisciplinary or monodisciplinary. Best practices in the Adventist educational system, its perspective in dimensions and benchmarking study. Okay, so this is now the author of this is Mary Magdalene M. de la Paz. Mary Magdalene M. de la Paz is wife of a pastor. Okay, so another I would like this is the title. This is okay. Now this is the abstract. Okay. So this is the abstracts. The title, Best Practices in the Adventist Educational System, its Perspective and Dimension, a benchmarking study by Mary Magdalene M. de la Paz, MAED, MPTH, LPT. This is how we are going to put the first is the highest educational attainment, MAED, tapos MPTH. Ano ba MPTH? Master of Public Pastoral Theology, and LPT, yung licensed professional teacher. So she is a teacher. So sa research abstract where you must have keywords. The keywords must come from the title. The Adventist Educational System, benchmarking, best practices, dimension, at saka perspective. Now, this is now the abstract. The study attempted to benchmark the best practices that relate to education in the Adventist educational system, which will be the basis for suggesting continuous incremental improvement for Philippine educational system. This study employed qualitative observational benchmarking research method using cross-sectional study research. Data gathering instruments were used, unstructured interview observation checklist, internet surfing, and document reading. Such study was conducted at the Adventist University of the Philippines, AUP, International Adventist Institute of Advanced Studies, IAS, Mountain View College, Central Philippines Adventist College, and Baisa Adventist Academy. This study reveals that the Adventist educational system is an admirable system of education. It is worthy to be benchmarked. It is the second largest sectarian educational system in the world, next to Catholic educational system. It has a total of 7,598 educational institutions operating in over 100 countries around the world, with 1.5 million students worldwide. It is religious in nature, with greater emphasis on health, the totality of a human being, medical science, agriculture, religious education, music, and spirituality. It also aspires and tries on its efforts to attain instructional and curricular excellence, superb world-class facilities, and internationally competitive standards in education. Most of its graduates are top-notchers in the board examination. Some of its famous universities are the Loma Linda University, one of the best medical schools in the world, Andrews University, the counterpart of Harvard University. Both are located in the United States of America. In the Philippines, the leading are the Adventist University of the Philippines, the Adventist Institute of Advanced Studies, and Mountain View College. So its educational tenets and philosophies are based on the Bible and the writings of Ellen G. White, its declared prophetess and messenger. Her books serve as supreme guides and guiding policies in the management and operation of the Adventist educational institutions. The Bible is the primary textbook or reference in educating their learners. There is Bible subject in which the Bible is studied deeply by its students. Yeah. So these are this statement of the research. And there are also numerous health books that directly guide its members and learners. Its students are highly encouraged to become vegetarian. Its canteens, called cafeteria, serves purely vegetarian diet. Its stores also sell vegetarian commodities. In health, its health education is guided by the acronym NUSTAT, which means nutrition, exercise, water, sunshine, temperance, A, rest, and trust in God. Here are some of the benchmark best practices of the Adventist educational system. In terms of instructions, here are some of the best practices. Number one, the nature teaching. One of the teaching strategies of Adventist educational institution is nature teaching. It is based on the precept that nature testifies of God. The learners are provided all opportunities to love nature and study of nature. The nature is considered as a lesson book that needs to be studied. Learners are given opportunity to go outside in the nature accompanied by their teachers, observe nature, and learn its simplicity. wonders, and science beyond it. This educational strategy is based on the educational philosophies of its prophetess, Ellen G. White, in their book, Education. This book exposes various principles on nature teaching and various nature-based object lessons. Another one is physical culture. Adventist educational system is very particular on the cultivation of physical culture of its learners, aside from intellectual and spiritual cultures. Physical culture is given emphasis by requiring its students to study physiology and anatomy, temperance and dietetics, agricultural work, health-giving recreations, and manual training such as industrial arts, home economics, agriculture, trade arts, food production, etc. Another one is character building education. Adventist educational system greatly emphasizes character building as the most important work for Adventist schools to perform. To develop and maintain such character building to its learners, most of its educational institutions are located at the countryside to separate students from the evil influence of the city life. God's 10 commandments are the foundations of character building. Jesus Christ is considered the only secured foundation and guide to strong education, the wisdom from above. And the third one, dress code. Right principles in regard to dress are emphasized and taught. It discourages worldly passion. It prescribes dress code to all its learners based on biblical accounts. And the other one is life work education. Adventists believe that learning is best attained through actual work or practice of knowledge. Students are provided actual work tasks to perform, which are related to their academic subjects. Idleness is strongly discouraged. And then weekly rest day. All its learners are taught to have weekly rest day. It is every Saturday, which they call Sabbath, from sunset to Friday, or Friday to sunset of Saturday. No business work should be done. Only spiritual work and health-giving humanitarian activities can be done on said day. Saturday is its worship day. Learners are required to attend worship service every Saturday. Sabbath keeping is its distinguishing mark that distinguishes Seventh-day Adventists from other religious denominations. And then another one is morning and evening worship. Students are required to rise early in the morning and to have morning or down worship at around 6 a.m. and sundown worship at around 6 p.m. In said worship meetings, students in various small groups spend at least 10 to 30 minutes of worship in the morning and afternoon. In said worship, singing, praying, reading of the Bible verses, and a little preaching from a devotional book are performed. This is part of its character building activities. Another one is early evening rest and sleep. Students are encouraged to sleep early at around 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. The lights in the dormitories are automatically off at around 9:30 p.m. This teaches students to sleep early and rise early. And then small class size, a minimum of 2 to 30 learners per class. No big class. More than 30 learners are allowed. Another one is academic advisor. Every student has an assigned academic advisor. Academic advisor is the one who will chart, monitor the student's program until she is ready for graduation. One of the functions of academic advisor is to review during each semester the student's academic program, which has tailored for that student for the period the student is expected to be in a particular Adventist educational institution. And then another one is Bible as a major reference book. In providing instruction, the Bible is considered as major reference book in teaching various academic subjects. And we have health education integration. Health education is integrated in all academic subjects. Seventh-day Adventists are very much particular with healthy lifestyles, vegetarianism, and promotion of exercise, water therapy, no smoking and no drinking of liquor. It also emphasizes the importance of temperance and trust in God's power. It is spiritual health. And another one is student-centered instruction. Adventist education is also student-centered. It provides all opportunities for the learning and involvement of students in classroom instruction. Active participation of students can be seen in most of its learning classes. Students are given time and assignments to actively participate in all scholastic activities. Another one is ideal school age. The school age is 8 to 10 years old. No children will go to formal school without reaching that age, even when the child is old enough to attend formal school. His health should be regarded as of greater importance than knowledge of books. The child should be surrounded with the conditions most favorable to both physical and mental growth. And the other one is balanced physical and mental instructional activities. Adventist students are provided a large portion of their time to exercise to balance with mental work. The most recommended exercises are gardening, manual work, home chores, walking, jogging, etc. Competitive sports are discouraged, especially boxing and wrestling. Adventist educational system considers that the physical activity is essential to purity of thought and mental health. It discourages idleness. The other one is no competitive sports or athletic games. Seventh-day Adventists do not involve their students in competitive sports, especially football, boxing, wrestling. They consider these sports as schools of brutality. These sports develop among students the same characteristics as did the games of ancient Rome: the love of domination, the pride in mere brute force, the reckless disregard of life, exert upon the youth a power to demoralize that is a folly. Other athletic games such as football, volleyball, etc. are considered by the Adventists as factors that stimulate the love of pleasure and excitement, thus fostering the state of useful labor, disposition, shun work, duties, and responsibilities. These sports tend to destroy a release for life's sober realities and its tranquil enjoyments. Thus, the door is open to dissipation and lawlessness with their terrible results. And then the other best practice ay yung pong community involvement learning. Students are also given big opportunities to have community work in various ways as part of learning. Community immersion, organization of various community support groups, medical rallies, medical missionary work, evangelistic camp meetings, canvassing work, and other worthwhile community-oriented activities, to mention a few, are some of the community involvement learning activities. And then yung bibliotherapy is an employment of books and the readings of them in the treatment of nervous system. It is also called a program of selected activity involving reading materials planned, conducted, and controlled as treatment for emotional and other problems. Now, in terms of curriculum naman, are some of the best practices in the Adventist educational system, like the Bible, and then yung balanced curriculum, and then blended emphasis of worship, study, labor, and recreation, and then the goals for curriculum: acceptance of God, commitment to the church, interpersonal relationship, and then responsible citizenship, healthy balanced living, intellectual development, community skills, personal management, aesthetic appreciation, career and service, work education, letter grade grading system. The grading system is more on letters. Greater emphasis on health. the greater emphasis of health. Like in Adventist educational system, health is primarily emphasized. There is a College of Health, which consists of courses such as BS in Medical Laboratory Science, BS in Nutrition and Dietetics, etc. And we have the massive extracurricular activities for students. And then Adventist educational system provides students maximum leniency to form various organizations in various types such as religious groups, music groups, talent groups, course-oriented groups, at saka professional groups. And then yung faculty and staff development. And then yung parents community partnership. Especially we have open house day. Open house day in which all educational institutions have an open house day where all parents and visitors are encouraged to visit the campuses to witness the beauty and grandeur of school facilities, the ambience of school environment, and the attractive infrastructure of various school buildings and offices. And aside from that, it's a research. There is also a research. I think I will not. And then school facilities. Sa school facilities, we have cafeteria, the well-equipped food services for vegetarian meals. It is like a school canteen. And countryside location. Majority of the Adventist educational institutions are located in the countryside. City schools are rare. Only the city local church schools are located in the cities. Most of which tertiary education institutions are in the countryside. And then another one, yung trees, plants, and landscaping. Most of which educational institutions are full of trees and plants surrounding the campuses. Most institutions have beautiful landscape of nature. The whole areas of the campuses are surrounded with trees, flowers, and garden. And then aside from that, yung big school land area. All each educational institution have a big areas, spacious with hundreds of hectares. The various buildings are built and distant from each other. And then there is also a dormitory for students and housing quarters for faculty and staff. Now, in regards to school administrative system, each educational institution is managed by the Board of Trustees. And then aside from that, you may notice the benchmarking, the best practices in education is one way to spearhead for a continuous incremental improvement or dramatic or abrupt re-engineering improvement. Adventist system of education is worthy to be benchmarked. Its founder, Ellen G. White, has numerous books in education which have been used by the Seventh-day Adventists as references or basis for the establishment and management of educational institutions. Some of the books in education authored by Ellen G. White are Education, discusses the biblical principles of education. The Master Teacher, Jesus Christ, the Nature Teaching, the Bible as an Educator, Physical Culture, Character Building, etc. Another book is yung Foundation, Fundamentals of Christian Education, which discusses proper education. Christ as an Educator, the home and the school, the importance of the physical training, education, and health, home education, and many topics of paramount importance. Other books is Mind, Character, and Personality, which discusses about the study of the mind, basic relationship, guiding principles in education, relationship of body and mind, Paul's system of therapy, practical psychology, to mention a few. Another book is Child Guidance, and many more, to mention a few. And these mentioned books are used by the Seventh-day Adventists to serve as guiding principles for Adventist educational institutions. The public school system and private school system in the Philippines can learn many things from them. They can adopt some of the educational principles, philosophy, and practices that are proven to make a difference in education. And then, based on the findings, the following are some of the suggested guides that may contribute to the improvement of Philippine educational system. The first one is benchmarking. And then the other one is the application of nature teaching as a teaching strategy, establishment of Bible-based character building subject, establishment of health and temperance philosophy in Philippine educational system, revival of the SIGA, school inside the garden, establishment of rest and relaxation program, work-oriented manual training education, natural ventilation for classrooms, re-examining the ideal age, the school age. Kasi the school age of Philippine public school system is 5 years of age, while in the Adventist school system is 8 years of age. According to its prophetess, Ellen G. White, in Testimonies for the Church, Volume 3, page 137, parents should be the only teachers of their children until they have reached 8 or 10 years of age. The only schoolroom for children from 8 to 10 years of age should be in the open air amid the opening waters and nature beautiful scenery. And their only textbook should be the treasures of nature. So according to the prophetess Ellen G. White, the children should be given formal training only after they reach 8 or 10 years of age. And in the light of the findings of this study, the following recommendations were made. And these are now the recommendations. And based on this particular research, the researcher strongly recommends conduct of another study by other researchers using other religious denominations for benchmarking purposes by getting their best and peculiar practices in education. It is also recommended that more intensive studies on various benchmarking practices of the Adventist educational system presented in this study, and the details of which for further clarification. It is also recommended that more intensive studies on various benchmark practices of the Adventist educational system presented in this study. It is further recommended that there must be studies that compare the Adventist educational system with the Philippine public school system or the University of the Philippines systems or any other existing educational systems in the Philippines. And finally, it is recommended that more suggested guides be formulated from the finding of these additional insights. So I think you have already heard this particular study. Now, what can you say about this study? Jerry, Dr. Jerry Postino. No?
Yes, Doc. It's really very comprehensive study, and it puts the Seventh-day Adventist school in the limelight
Yes.
for scholars to review.
Yes.
So saludo po ako sa researcher.
Yes, ako.
Opo, Doc.
Si Dr. Terry Zuniga. Wala po. Si Dr. Sherlyn Mariano.
Yes, Doc.
Yes, Doc. Very
This study is very educational or informative for those who are non-Adventists, especially our religion or our denomination is not that popular.
Yes.
So they would be able to appreciate or see the distinct characteristic of studying in an Adventist institution po.
Thank you. Dr. Rolly Obedencio from Thailand.
Hello, Doc. This study is very comprehensive, just like what Dr. Jerry said. And the implication that I have in my heart based on this reflection is that if students, especially non-SDAs, study or graduate from our SDA institution, they will become holistic in their education. If I connect this with the previous study that you just presented, I have an implication also here that if Manila will be become Seventh-day Adventist, the Pasig River will be solved.
Yes, apo. Apo, yes, that's correct. Apo. And Dr. Dory Bernardo, I think
Hello,
we
Doc.
will apo,
Very, Doc. Thank you so
Dr.
much,
Dory.
Doc. Very informative lectures about is the schools, and we are very fortunate that we have this institution, though we are small compared to the Roman Catholic, but we are the largest school institution in the Protestant world, and we are second to the Catholic because
Yes.
because of that, because of the guidance from God through the spirit of Rapacia, or the in the person of Ellen G. White in establishing
Hey,
school.
thank you.
Thank you, Doc.
Apo. I think it's already 23. Sorry for extending my time. We will continue our discussion, more presentation of interdisciplinary research next meeting, and we will further study more on interdisciplinary research methodology. I hope I will not prolong your agony, and you can take your lunch. Thank you, and may God bless you.
Thank you, Doc. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you, Doc.
Let's go.